So my name is Cheryl Feldman, and some of you I know came up to me and said you saw me speak throughout the week. I have been a Salesforce admin for 10 years. That's a decade. And I'm here to teach you today how to do some point-and-click app building. I am currently a business systems analyst at S&P Capital IQ. We are a financial services data and information company located in downtown Manhattan. And I'm actually a New Yorker, born and raised. So I just wanted to kind of figure out, as I'm teaching this, who we have in the room. How many of you are brand new admins? Raise your hand. Awesome. How many of you is this your first Dreamforce? That's so awesome. This is my 6th Dreamforce. So what we're going to go through today, we're going to go through some pretty cool stuff today. And you don't need to have really any experience. We're going to teach you, and you're going to come out of here with the ability to build your own custom app. And we're going to build one app today. But the beauty of the Salesforce platform is that you can apply this to anything, to any requirement that you have from your business. And as we're going through piece by piece, I'll be walking around, and if you guys have questions, just pull me over and stop me, and we can talk about your question, and we may want to talk about it as a group to make sure everybody's good to move on to the next step. So I do have to give you the Salesforce Safe Harbor statement. We're not going to be showing anything in this session that's not already available, but what this just says is that please don't make any business decisions or purchasing decisions based on functionality that may not be available yet today, but everything we're covering is available today, both in your sandboxes and a production org. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is one powerful tool that Salesforce gives everybody is a free developer edition. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you sign up for one. And you just want to make sure you sign up with an email address that you have access to right now. So you can actually, because it's going to email you information on how to actually set up the org. So if you go to developer.salesforce.com/signup and just fill in the information and put in your email address and make sure, again, you have a question?
I was just going to ask, can the email address be one that we are currently using as our login for Salesforce?
Your username cannot be. It will allow you to use an email address, but you can't use the same username. It's going to ask you to set up a username. You can't have that email address be the same username. Yeah. So that's just a good tip for admins. If you're working in multiple orgs, we have multiple orgs at my company, and a lot of people do. A good tip is if you're managing multiple orgs, put something after your login. So if you have, for me, it's like cheryl.feldman@spcapitaliq.com.org1 or .org2 when you're setting up users and stuff like that. That's just a good tip. But I'll come down. Oh, go ahead. Oh, yeah, if you have a dev org already, please feel free to use it. Did you have a ton of code and configuration in there? No. Okay, then go ahead, that's fine. And this is something I tell all new admins to get. I give all new admins 2 tips. Sign up for your free developer org, and you'll be able to have this org forever as long as you want. And you can have as many developer orgs as you want. I have, about 20 of them. And you can play with all sorts of features. And it's really something very powerful. So if there's a feature that maybe your company doesn't have turned on that you want to try out, or you want to see what a brand new Salesforce org looks like because your org is so highly customized, a developer org is a great way to do that. So just let me know when you guys are all set up with your dev orgs. I'll give you guys a few minutes to sign up and everything. Yep.
Can you give other users in your company access to your dev org so they can test what?
I'm sorry, copy.
Can you give other users access to your dev org?
Yes, you can actually. I believe the dev orgs come with 2 or 3 licenses, not all your users, but if you have, depending on your version of Salesforce that you have, it may come with sandboxes. So this developer org is going to be separate from your org that you currently have purchased. I know my company, we have about 20 sandboxes that are tied to our orgs. So if you wanted to, let's say, build something in a sandbox and have your users test it, a sandbox that's tied to your org is a great way to do that because all of your functionality that you have today will be in that org. And for everybody who just came in, we're just signing up for a free developer org because that's where we're going to do all the app building today. So I'll give everybody about 5 or 10 minutes to do that. And I'll come down if you guys have any questions.
Developer account.
Yep.
Just click on that.
Let's see. Create account. Yep.
When I enter this in, it says I already have one.
Oh, okay.
And it was a long time ago.
Yeah, okay.
But
So you mean where you develop and? Yeah, this should be a very similar thing. Yeah, they used to call this like Developer Force, yeah. And just raise your hand if you have a question, and I'll come by. Oh, sorry, I missed you. Yeah, it's best if you do this on a laptop. It's going to be, you can try to do it on a smartphone, but with things like Salesforce 1, you can't do a ton of configuration, and we're going to be doing a ton of configuration. You can try. They should have handed it out to you when you came in. Oh, okay. Let me go find out, okay? Give me 2 seconds, okay? Because they told me they were going to hand that out as people came in. I'm just going to turn off my mic for a second, okay? Okay, sit tight, everybody. They're going to find out about what happened to the documentation. I apologize. But we will definitely get you some, and I can also put a link to it on the chatter feed after this so you guys can have it, just so you don't have to carry stuff home if you don't want to. Okay. Okay. So I'm not sure. So you're saying that you signed up for the developer org and now it's bringing you to the success community, or?
I want to link it together so that it actually, the success page is linked to this developer. So I always have it on there, so I don't have to create a new success page every single time I leave.
Okay, well, you should be using only one login for the success page. So use the one that you used today for the success community. So typically, because I have like 25 developer orgs, so the question was, so in case anybody else has this question, is how do I link this developer org to my success community page? It's kind of a one-to-one relationship right now. I believe it's coming, where they announced at the success community keynote on Monday that something's coming to do a, many-to-one. But for me personally, my success community login, where I ask questions, answer questions, vote up on ideas, things like that, is linked to my overall production org login. Yeah. Right, yep. Yep. Right. Yeah, so that's like a separate org. So I wouldn't be posting to the success community from that. No saying you can't. So you can totally post from your developer org to the success community, but it's probably best practice is to use your one org, and there's no way to link the two together. So yeah, okay. So let me go pull that up, and I'll say, so if everybody, so when I talk about posting something on the chatter feed, when you log into Dreamforce, you'll see my agenda and your sessions. If you click on that session, you'll see your chatter feed, and you'll see it on your phone too. If I click on my agenda? Yep, and you click on the session, you'll see it. I'll bring it up there. Yep. And then view session chatter, yep. And that's where it'll be. And I'll post links to anything. And I'm sorry, did somebody else have a question?
Should we use Chrome most of the time, or is there a better?
I use Chrome all the time. So Chrome is my browser preference, but Salesforce does support IE 8 and above, Chrome and Firefox, and Safari. Okay. Yeah. Chrome, I think, is a lot of people's preference, so that's what I use all the time. I apologize. I'm not. I'm just trying to find out what's going on with that, with the documentation. Yeah, they told me it would be here, and I didn't have to do that. Let's see. How's everybody doing? Everybody get their developer org up? Okay. Maybe we want to try doing it again? Yeah, sorry about that. Make sure it's an email you have access to right now. Yeah. Sometimes if you have using the Wi-Fi on your phone, sometimes if you turn it off, sometimes the Wi-Fi is a little bit slow in here if you're using it on your phone. So that may be the issue also.
Once we go through these steps, do we just log back into Salesforce with this setup?
Yep. Okay, so you should have, click on that. And click on my developer account. And I'll log in. Yep. So where you want to be is just, logged in. Let me see where you are. Yep, where you are is fine. You're in a developer org. Well, you're on NA2. That's usually a production org. You should try using a different email, like a brand new email. Maybe set up a Gmail real quick. And make sure you're logged out of all. If you were logged into your production Salesforce org you use at work, make sure you're logged out. Yep. And usually the developer orgs are either on NA15 or NA17, just to give you an idea. How are you guys doing? Good? We ready to move on, or are we still setting everything up? I'll give you guys another 5 or 6 minutes. So who went to the Bruno Mars concert? Everybody go? What'd you guys think? You liked it? I'm sorry? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who it's your first Dreamforce, are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling inspired? That's awesome. Yeah. And I've got my superhero t-shirt on for you today, so I can make you all admin superheroes. Did you guys all go to the admin keynote yesterday?
Most likely on the Dreamforce site. They got Ben and us on there.
Are most of you in your developer org now? Okay. Not yet? Let me come down. I'm sorry?
They needed to send that email out about creating a dev org sooner than the day of the conference.
Yeah, I think that, I'm not exactly sure how that works, but that's good feedback for next year. And I'll pass that on over to Mike and Samantha, who actually wrote the training.
They sent it out, I got it on Monday.
Yep. Click on that. And now set up your password. And you're in. That's your developer org. Okay. We're going to move on. Everybody good? Everybody got their developer org open? Okay. Awesome. And you'll be able to use this, and you can use it for whatever you want. So the first thing that we're going to do today is as I mentioned, we're going to show you how to build an app using only declarative tools. Does everybody know what I mean when I say the word declarative? Okay, so I didn't know what that actually meant until about 2 years ago, and I used to hear people saying that, and I was like, what does that mean? And I actually asked the question on Twitter, and a lot of people responded to me, that means clicks. So there's a couple different ways you can develop. Being a declarative developer means you're developing with clicks, not code. And that's what we're gonna do today. How many of you like read, button click admin and follow Mike Gerholt? Yeah, so that's all declarative development. So technically, all of you guys in this room are developers. You're just declarative developers. So what our business case is today is when this training was being written, we kind of thought about what would be good to show especially some new admins, especially some admins that are by themselves managing their own org. How many of that is you? Are any of you managing a Salesforce by yourself? A lot of you. That's what we figured. And a good thing for an admin to have is an application to manage requests from your users. Whether it's a new feature request, a bug that they're reporting to you, or maybe just adding new users to the system, or maybe user changes. And this application should be in Salesforce so everything is trackable, because that's going to be easier for you. And that way you can report to your management to say, I handled this many requests this week, this month, today, last year, and you can really prove your value and maybe even prove value for another one of you as your organization gets bigger. Does that make sense to everybody? Excited? So what is an app? An app is a group of tabs that work as a unit to provide application functionality. Did anybody ever notice when you're in Salesforce, on the top right-hand side, there's a drop-down that says sales, marketing, client support? Those are apps. And if you download an app from an app exchange, you get another one, and you can build your own custom app. And that's what we're going to be doing today, adding another drop-down there with some custom objects with a series of tabs. One of the things we're going to be building today is a custom object. How many of you know what an object is? Great. And for those of you who didn't have your hand raised, if you think of an object in Salesforce terms, an account is an object. A contact is an object. If you're familiar with databases or spreadsheets, a sheet is an object. That's how you want to think about it. Custom objects give you the ability to create something that Salesforce doesn't come with out of the box, something like this. Or maybe you have another process in your business that you want to put on Salesforce that doesn't exist with Salesforce out of the box. You can build something custom, and you can do all of this with clicks and not code. And with custom objects, you have a lot of power. You get a lot of the things, actually all the things that you get with a standard object. You get to add custom fields. You can associate the custom object to another object, whether it be a custom object or a standard object. You can add tasks, activities, attachments. You can create validation rules, workflow rules, all that stuff, approval processes, all that stuff you can do from a custom object, as well as make it available mobile in Salesforce One. And they really, let me find out what's going on with those. Sorry about that. I'm just going to run out to the admin zone because I think Mike might be out there. I apologize again. Let me be right back. Okay, I've got some people on it. We're looking for that documentation. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can't minimize the presentation and open up the internet, and we're going to wing it here. And I'm going to actually build the app with you without using documentation. Then we'll get you that documentation. I've got Erica Kuhl and Adam Seligman on it right now. So sorry, guys. We're going to wing this here.
Display something from the internet. Did you want to display something?
Yeah, absolutely. One second, guys. I appreciate your patience. I'll have to see if we can get you some free swag from the admin zone when you guys finish. Okay. 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 All right, cool. Okay. So, as Salesforce admins, problems arise, we improvise, just like this. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and first create our custom object. So here, the one big difference between a developer org, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, let me see if I can make that bigger. Thanks for letting me know. Let's see. How's that? Is that good? Okay. So the big difference between a developer org and one of your production orgs and a sandbox tied to your production org is the setup menu doesn't exist when you click on your name here. The setup menu is right here. And when you log into developer org, it's automatically going to bring you to the setup menu, because that's really what these orgs are for you to play around. And so if we look at the setup menu rather. So there's different areas underneath build, and this is where you're mainly going to live when you're building any sort of custom app. Hold on one second, guys. What I told them, we're admins, we improvise, and you know what, this is a thing, we're going to improvise, and we're going to build an app together. I've got it up there, I closed the presentation, and we're going to do it, I'm going to do it right with them. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Oh, so if you go to login.salesforce.com and use the email address and the password that you set up for the dev org, not your production org. Yep. Yeah, so that's the big difference. When you're logging into different orgs, you're going to have to use the different, that username is going to differentiate the org. So if you think of Salesforce as one big, giant database, when you log in with your ID for your dev org, it's going to pull up your dev org. For your production org, it's going to pull up your production org. Okay. So underneath the customize, this is where you're going to have all of your standard objects. Because we're going to be creating a custom object, we're going to be under create. And so here, we're going to click on objects. Now, this is if any of you follow my blog, this is actually the org that I built Beautyforce in. So you guys I can actually show you that later if you'd like. So we're going to click on new custom object. And here is where you're going to label your custom object. So we're going to call this admin request. And we're going to say, yes, this starts with a vowel. And what this does, so it displays correctly with when you're doing a report or it's showing everything, it's going to show with an "and" instead of an "a." And then the plural, just so you have that. And it's always really good to put a description. I work for a huge company. We have over 200 custom objects. And sometimes we have to think about, why did we create this custom object? So it's always really good to put a description in there, not just what the object is, maybe what the project you were on, or something that's going to be helpful to you as an admin 3 years from now when somebody's like, why did we create that object? Because nobody's using it. You'll go back to that description and say, oh, it was part of project X, and we originally wanted this, but we decided to go a different way. We can get rid of that. That's a really good thing to do. So here we're going to put and that's what I'm going to put here. You can put anything that makes sense to you. So record, name, label, and format. If you think about accounts, the name is a text field. You have, an account JP Morgan Chase, or an account name would be Salesforce. But if you think of cases, there really isn't a name, there's an auto number. When you're creating a custom object, you have the ability to decide for that specific object, do we want this to have a name or a number? For something like this, and one thing to keep in mind, if you do make this a name field, it's a text field, and it's always going to be required for you or your users to fill out on the page layout, and you can't remove it from the page layout. So if you want something like this, because if you're thinking of accounts, you want to name them. For something like this, it would be my advice to do it as an auto number, similar as cases. So you can say, oh, this was request 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is request 6, 7, 8, and you can keep track of it that way instead of having to manually name all of them. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So we're going to change this to auto number. And this gives you the ability to say, how do you want that auto number to display? Like with cases, it's just a number. But let's say maybe you want to add a letter in front of it. Maybe you want it to be AR dash something, or whatever makes sense to you. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make this AR. And then you're going to put the numeric in brackets. And what you can even do is copy this format right here. That's what I always do. And then what your starting number wants to be. You could start it at 1, you could start it at 100, you could start it at 1,000, at 5,000, however you want to start it. Yep.
Number of zeros significant? In other words, is it going to count 4 zeros worth and roll over? Or?
Yeah, so that means what it's going to start from. So if we make the starting number 100, the first record we enter is going to be 0, 100. But it'll allow you to go up to like however many you want.
So it's not limited to 4 digits.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he was asking about the declaration of digits there in the display format. You have 4 digits in the display format. When it goes to 9999, will it go back to 1 for the next record? Or will it go?
No, it'll keep going. This is just where we're starting from. So
The number of zeros in between those brackets is not setting up anything.
yeah, so this will allow you to go like as high as you want. This is just saying for the starting number. Yeah. So if you look at what they have there, like A000, so if we did AR with the 000, so this means if we say the starting is, let's say, 150, the first record is going to be 0, 150.
So you define the number of digits we can put into it.
Yes, so
Yeah.
if you start
Yeah.
with one simple explanation, all those leading zeros will be there in that fourth column, it will be 1.
Okay, so you're defining the length of the entry ID.
Yeah. Yeah, we can look at it and we can play with it and we'll create some records too, and we'll also build out some reports, maybe a dashboard, whatever you guys want. And we'll even answer some questions about other orgs, whatever works for you guys. So we're going to start this one at 0, 100. The starting number is going to be 100. We want to make sure we allow reports on this. Allow activities. And I always tell everybody, track your field history. It's very important because sometimes, and you don't have to track every field, every object, you can track up to 20 fields, that if somebody says, well, how long was it in process till it closed, you'll be able to track that through field history tracking. So we're going to deploy this object. The difference between deployment status of in development and deployed is in development means you can actually see it, but your users can't. Anybody in the admin profile or who has the rights in their profile to customize application will be able to see that object, but not any of your other users. So if you wanted to test it out in a production org, I don't necessarily recommend that, but if you did want to test in production, that is a way that you could do that. If you choose deployed, that means any user that you give access to this object to will be able to see it and edit it based on the permissions you give at the profile level. So we're going to make this deployed right now. And then it gives you a couple of other options. Add notes and attachments related list to default page layout. I always recommend that. And launch new custom tab wizard after saving this custom object. We want to check that too. And when you click save, you should come here and let me know when you're all up there. Does everybody know Erica Cool? She's like the founder of the Salesforce community. Let me just turn up. So Erica has the guide, and we can give you, put it up on a public area. You guys can just download it to your computers, and we can go back to the guide, or we can do it this way, whatever way works for you. You like this way? Okay. We'll keep going this way. Okay. Yep. And I'll make sure I put that link so you guys have the guide for future reference, but we'll just keep building together until you have me till 11 o'clock. I'll stay later, whatever you need. Yeah. 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 No, I didn't check under here. I wonder if maybe, no. Okay. 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 That's cool. But I think we're good. We're just going to build a cool app together. Everybody give Erica a round of applause. I think Erica is like one of the most amazing people. I'm going to come down, and I'll walk around and answer any questions. It's easier for me. It's hard for me to hear up there a little bit. Hey, no problem. No, there's no such thing as stupid question. No, don't apologize. We're here to help each other.
I neglected to launch the wizard automatically. How do I launch it once I'm just in my tab?
Oh, to set up the tab?
To get to wherever you are now. So I have my reference saved. But, yes,
Can you pull in a little bit? Sorry, I can't see from here. Yeah. Oh, you didn't have to get up. You just need to pull in a little bit. Are you comfortable over there? Why don't you move here? You'd be more comfortable, I think, right? Okay.
So I neglected to tell it to launch the wizard automatically.
Oh, because you didn't click save. So.
Oh, no, I have. But,
Oh.
Okay, so I'm here. So from here, how do I go into here and then add a custom object to it? I just
Oh, this is your custom object.
Right, but I need to get to that.
Oh, to the tab?
Yeah.
Oh, so if you go to create, if anybody else did this, tabs?
Tabs, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
And then new,
There we are.
and then select your object. Yep. Okay. If anybody else did that, did you see what we did? And I'll actually walk people through that if you accidentally did that. No problem. You can always go back. Okay, so if you came here to the wizard automatically and you did it'll populate the admin request object as your object. If you forgot to check that checkbox, just go to create and then tabs and then custom object and just select your custom object. And now we're going to select the tab style. So it gives you all these different options. So you can choose whatever one you want. I am going to choose a desk. You guys all there? Okay, awesome. So we don't need a splash page for this. That's if you want to have like a custom page to actually display when somebody clicks on that tab. We're not going to go through that today. But you can put in a description for the tab. And you're going to click Next. So here is where you're going to assign the tabs to profiles. How many of you know what a profile is? Okay, awesome. I saw a couple hands that weren't raised. So let me just quickly go through what the difference between roles and profiles is, because I think this will be helpful to especially to a lot of the new admins. Roles will control what you can see. Profiles will control what you can do with what you can see. In addition to that, there are some caveats there that on the profile, for some objects, you can select Modify All or View All, so that will override the permissions that you have in your role hierarchy or your sharing. In addition to this, you have permission sets, which you can assign users to override what's in your role hierarchy or what's on your profile. And we can go through some of that later if you guys have questions. But does that make sense? Okay, cool. So it's going to give you, when you're setting up a new object or you're creating a tab, it's going to give you the right here, and you can always go back and change this. This is not set in stone, and that's one of the best things about Salesforce and the power that you have as an admin. If your business says, we only want X group of users to use this right now, and they say, oh my God, Cheryl, everybody in this group loves it. We want to give it to this group. You just have to go back to the other profiles that you have and add this object and set the permissions. Nothing is set in stone. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this default on for everybody just so it's a little bit easier. And now here, these are your apps that I was talking about. So you see I have, again, this is my DevWork, you see I have my Dreamforce app. So what we're going to do is we're going to uncheck all of these, and we're going to create our own app for this. So let's uncheck all of these and click Save. And now we're going to go ahead and create an app. I'm going to do it really quickly. You're going to see how powerful this is. So we're going to go back to Create and come over to Apps. And we're going to click New. And this is going to be a custom app. So we're going to call this Admin Request Force. That's what we're going to call our app. Oops, if I can type, okay. Oh my, this keyboard is. Something like that. Or whatever you want to call your app, whatever you would like to call it. And you can put a description in here. So now, one of the cool things that you get with a custom app is you're able to insert an image here. So I don't know if any of you have this in your orgs. When you're on the sales app, you'll always see the Salesforce logo. If you build a custom app, you could put another logo on the top left up there. I don't know if I have any images on this machine, but if you guys have any images on your machine, you can feel free to choose one. My company does this. We actually build all custom apps, so everything has our logo on it. Any questions so far? Awesome. How are you guys feeling? Good? And here is where you're going to be able to select your tabs. So as I mentioned before, a custom app is just a collection of tabs. So you'll be able to select standard and custom objects here. And it's always going to put the home tab in there for you. So we're going to put our admin request and click next. And we're just going to make this a simple app with those 2 tabs. And then you have the ability to say, what do I want the default landing tab to be? And this is powerful if you're building a bigger app. So let's say you have a requirement. How many of you support organizations that have a call center or client support people? Yep, me too. So what we did for ours is we built a custom app that includes cases, some custom objects that we use, as well as some apps from the App Exchange. And we built a custom app, and based on how they work, we have them land on the tab that they need to go to first for their business process. So that's really powerful. So for this one, we're going to set the landing tab as admin requests. And we're going to click next. Now here is where you're going to say who has access to this app. For the purpose of a dev org, we're going to give everybody the ability to have this visible. And then when it says default, that means when they log in, that's going to be their default app. So we don't want to do that. We want to have the sales app as a default app for this one. But if you wanted to, you can select that as your default app or any other app. But this is something very powerful that you have for your users if you need to change what your users see when they log in.
Doesn't that open up the opportunity for conflict if 2 different developers both define theirs as the default?
I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Let me just finish this and I'll come right down, okay? So we're going to make it visible to everybody just like that. All you have to do is click that checkbox. And now let's say you wanted to make it visible to everybody except one group. What you can do is select that and then just uncheck. That's what I do. That's a little bit easier. Just trick as an admin. And we're not, like I said, we're not going to make this default. But we're going to click save. So now, you should have admin request force. Everybody have that? Give yourselves a round of applause. You did the first step of building your own custom app. Now we have to really customize this object. We're going to be adding fields. We're going to be adding some workflow. We're going to be really customizing this, for something that you would want to use as an admin. So what we're going to do is, if we were to click new here right now, we're not going to really see anything because we haven't added any fields yet. So we're not going to see anything here. So let's click cancel out of that. Oops, what did I do here? Okay. Oh no, what's going on with my mouse? Okay. So we're going to go back to the setup screen. I'm going to go back to create objects, and we're going to click on our admin request object. I see the training guide's being handed out. Do you guys, we can go on with the training guide, or we can continue like this? Like this? Okay.
How did you get to the last section? I picked it up.
Okay, let me come down. That light is bright. Okay. And then, did you create it?
Yeah.
Are you in, scroll up to the top? You're in your developer org, okay.
And I did, yeah, it was going all along, and I got to this page, and then
Maybe it didn't
what happened after
save.
you saw this page?
Yeah, so you should click on new again. And then click on, yep, custom app and click next. Make sure it's saving for you. And then type in the app label.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I went through step by step the entire thing.
Okay, it didn't save?
No, well, it did. I mean, everything was working until that last page, and then how did you go from that screen we were just on to the last thing, wherever you saw the tab?
Oh.
Did you click on something? When you were here, then what happened?
Oh, so what I did here, so if you scroll up, I clicked on sales. And then you should see, oh, admin request forced.
Okay, that's what I was.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant it didn't save. Oh, okay, yep, that's how you get there. Okay. Oh, so go to create objects, admin request. There you go. Okay, yep. Everybody good? Everybody back here? Everybody got their app created? Oh, I see a question back there.
Got it. It's just I was still at the sales interface. That's why I didn't see
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So I just have to switch
Yep.
to, okay.
Yep.
Got it.
And those are all your different apps that you have. Yep. So each one of those things is an app. Okay. Perfect. You guys are doing awesome. Oh, setup, create, and then click on this. There you go. Everybody good? Anybody have any questions? Or I'm going to go back up there.
Can they turn the lighting up a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Let me go. Hey, can we turn the lighting up a little bit? How's that? Awesome. Okay. So what we're going to do now, how many of you have created custom fields before? Okay, some of you, great. So we're going to go ahead and create some fields for our object. So there should be a page in your workbook. Do we have any extra workbooks that you could bring up here? Thank you. And we'll add the fields that are in the workbook. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to be going off, what page am I on here? It says add a text field to the object, module 3. Okay, so first fields we want to activate because we want to know who is requesting this because we'll be able to report on who are the users that are requesting the most stuff from us, right? Because you want to know that. And when somebody says, when you say to your boss, oh my God, Joe user requests so much stuff of me. Look, he opened 85 million requests with me last month. You'll be able to do that. So, because all this stuff is reportable. So we're going to go ahead and create a text field. And we're going to use the regular text, not a text area. A text area is going to give you a box on separate lines. That's not what we want for this one. And we're going to call this first name. And for name fields, I traditionally do 80 characters. You're usually not going to get any more than that. I believe the max length you could do is 255. But typically, if you actually look at the standard contact object, I believe the first and last name fields are 80 characters each. That's what I usually go by. But you can make this whatever you think makes sense to you. So we're going to add a description field. Help text. This is super powerful as an admin because you can create, if you've ever used Salesforce and you see a little help bubble, you see a little I next to a field, and when the user mouses over it, it'll tell them to do something. And you can message out so you can guide your user on what you want in this field. So we're going to say, enter your first name here. Sorry, my mouse is on. Okay. Now, there's a couple different ways to actually make a field required. You can do it when you're setting up a field to always make a field required on what I like to call FLS, field level security. The other way you can make a field required is on the page layout. Now, does anybody know what kind of why you would do the two different things? Let me kind of go through that. This is something you're going to keep in mind as an admin, especially as a new admin, because I made this mistake a lot. When I would do this, I would say, oh, they want this required all the time, so let me do it here. The challenge with that is if you ever do a data load on the back end of these, it's going to require, if you have it required on the field level security, it's going to force you to put the data in there when you're loading data on the back end, which may be a good thing or a bad thing. You just have to remember to do that. If you have it required on the page layout, it's not going to force you to do that. The other challenge is if you have workflow updating something and this isn't filled out for some reason, that it's not going to let the workflow run. So those are kind of the two differences if you want to do it at the field level security or if you want to do it at the page layout. So for this one, we're not going to make this required here, but we do want to make this required eventually when we update the page layout. And we definitely want to allow duplicate values. You would use this if you want doing something like an account number or something, where you didn't want different, or to use this field externally as an ID or something. But this is just a name field. We don't need to do this. And click Next. Mm-hmm. So if you don't select field level security here, yep. Then 2 weeks later you decide you do want to do that. Yep. I can show you that in 2 seconds. I will show you that, and I will teach you how to do that because that is a request you are going to get as an admin all the time because things change. So here we're going to make this field visible to all profiles. And again, you could make this read-only to people here, but we're going to make this visible. Click Next. And we want to definitely add this field to the page layout. So if you didn't hear the question, what she asked before is, let's say we decide we want to go back and make this field required on the field level security. How do we do that after we create the field? So let's go through that right now. You can actually do that 2 different ways. You can actually click on, I need to use this mouse, okay. You can actually click on the field name. And if you wanted to update just this field for a number of profiles, this is the best way to do it. And you can click on Set Field Level Security to change it, or View Field Level Security, and this will tell you, this will give you a matrix of who can edit and see this field. So if we come back here, and you wanted to set the field level security, you can change this to visible or read-only. Oh, they're required? You can change that over here. Yep. Sorry. Yep. And then the other thing you want to keep in mind is you can also do, so if you wanted to change a number of fields, you know, the field level security for a specific profile, you can do that at the profile level. It kind of depends on your requirement and what you have to do. So if you go to manage users, and then profiles, and then we wanted to go for, let's say, this profile. We wanted to update the field level security for several fields for this profile. What you can do is you can go to custom field level security, and you can click on, for this object, click on view here, and you can edit here. So that you can do that at the profile level. So if you had a request to update a bunch of stuff for just one group of users, this is the way to do it. If you had to update one field for like your whole organization, to go into the actual field is the best way to do it. Does that make sense? Okay, great. Let's go back to create. Objects. Let's go back to our admin request object. And now the big difference between standard and custom object is when you're in a custom object, all the pieces that are kind of, you know, if you were to go to accounts and then click the little caret next to accounts, you see your fields, your validation rules, everything here is on the page instead of having a caret there. So we're going to add a couple of other fields. And if you are going ahead of me as I'm talking, that's fine. Okay, so now the next field we want to add is an email field. So that's going to be the next field we add. This is going to be a different field type. We're going to select the email field type. And I just went to the save and new this time instead of just the saves. This is going to bring me back to create another new custom field. So the next field we're going to add is a, oh, are you stuck? You good? Oh, yeah, let me come down. So you should have an email. So click email. Yep, that's the field type, yep. So you can actually have the users put an email address in a text field, but you don't want to do that because it's not going to make a clickable link. So that's what the email field does. And it's also going to enforce out of the box that it's in a correct email format with the @something. So that's the advantage of having using the email address field versus a text field. But if you had a data integration or something, there are use cases for using a text field, but best practice, use an email field.
So Salesforce, have they ever thought about allowing people to clone another application? Because a lot of times when you're building applications, there are already fields in that application that you probably just can pull in.
I'm going to give you a high five on that one because I have an idea up there on the idea exchange. I'll post it. You need to vote on it. And that's one thing. I'm very, very big on community and very big on the Salesforce community. And 10 years ago, I was just like you. And I went to a user group, and I got a lot of help like this. So I would suggest if you have ideas of stuff that's not in the application that you want, put it on the idea exchange or find an idea and vote on it. They are pushing product managers to respond to those ideas. If you were at the community keynote on Monday, when an idea gets 2,500 points, 250 votes, which in the scheme of things, it's not that many since there's 1.3 million admins. Product management is going to have to come back and say what they're doing with that idea. So, and if you look at the release notes now, they'll have all the ideas in there that came in the release notes. And that's my spiel on the community. But yes, I agree with you. So we're going to create a lookup relationship to the user record. Because what we want to track is on new setup requests, who this user should be set up like. And then you can go back to it if somebody says, why did you set up me up this way? And you can say, well, you requested to set up just like this. If you want to change it, no problem, but this is what you requested. So and here's where you're going to select what is this related to. And we're going to say user. And the field label is going to be user, but you can call it something else. I don't know what else you want to call it, but you potentially could, you know, maybe user to set up like, whatever you wanted to call it.
Sorry, was it lookup relationship?
I'm sorry?
It was lookup relationship?
Sorry, it's hard for me to hear up there. Let me actually create this field, and then I'll come down, I'll walk around, or maybe the person from Salesforce wants to go over there, and she can help you. And I'll be down in a minute. After we create this field, I'll come walk around again. Sorry, it's hard for me to hear up here for some reason. And I'll come down in a second, but I do want to show you, you can check your progress as you're going to see what things look like. So if you want to open this in a new tab, this. And I'll show you how to rearrange the fields in a little while so we can arrange them so they're more user-friendly. But all the fields that you created should be there. Let me come down. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was, I just, sometimes you're going a little fast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Sure.
If you're doing a lookup on a user,
Yep.
I guess the question I have is there a way to set this up so that you don't have to have people enter their first name and their last name? Can you look up if they're already in your org?
Mm-hmm.
Can you just have them, just by the fact that they're logged in, is there a way to look up their information directly?
Yes. So you could build something called a publisher action, which we won't have time to do today. But a publisher action is oh my God, it's like one of my favorite features. And what you can do there is you can pre-populate fields and you can take the information on who's logged in, or you can build a formula field. And you can actually build that based on who created the request. So those are two ways to do it. Yep. Or you can even have a workflow rule with the formula in the thing. There's actually a bunch of ways. Best thing about Salesforce, there's like 50 ways to do everything. So are we running out of time? I hope not. No, we've still got a little while. Okay. How's everybody feeling so far? Good? I think there was a question back there. I'm just going to take a drink of water if you guys don't mind. So the next field we're going to add is a description field. And we're going to make this a rich text field. This is where either you or the user, whoever you're having enter this information, will be able to describe what they want from you, the problem that they're having. And the beauty of rich text fields is you can actually paste a picture in there. So we do this. We actually track requests. I actually own that at my organization, all of the requests that come in from we have over 2,000 end users, and we have a rich text field, and they can paste in a screenshot of any issues that they're having. Let's go ahead and do that. So if we come back to this tab, and again, if you lost your place, let me actually start over just to make sure everybody's good. Go back to the object, admin request, new custom field, and we're going to make this a rich text. And the actual field type is text area, in parentheses, rich. And we're going to call this description. And you can actually specify, you can have up to 131,000 characters, and you can have 25 visible lines. So the visible lines is kind of the more important thing. I think the number of characters you kind of get, that's something I want to talk to you guys about. So if you have a large text field and you only make 5 lines visible, it's going to be hard to see the whole thing. 25 is a good number. That'll actually give you a big space. And even if you have maybe only display 2 lines, if you have a small space, they'll still be allowed to type all this text, but it'll be hard for them to see because they'll be working in this little box. So 25 is a good number. Let me know when you guys have that description field added. And you guys getting the hang of this who haven't created fields before? Yep. Are you guys ready to move on to the next one? Okay. Next one, we're going to add a category pick list. Now, we want to add this field because we want to be able to say, what type of request is this? Is this somebody requesting to have a new user set up, or maybe a password reset? Or is this somebody with an enhancement request? Or is this somebody who's reporting a bug because something's not working? We want to be able to differentiate these because you, as an admin, should want to be able to report on this. So you can say, last month, hey, boss, I'm awesome. Last month, I did 50 enhancement requests, and look at all this value I brought to the business. You want to be able to report on that. And having that category pick list is going to allow you to do that. So we are going to add a pick list field, and this is a single select pick list, not a multi-select. Oops. Oh, what happened here? And we are going to, oops, sorry. We're going to call this field category or request category. Or if you can, if you want to rename the field something that makes sense to you, but let's call it request category. And then you'll see in that bullet point, it's going to ask you to ask user activation, user deactivation, general customization, reports and dashboards. So go ahead and enter each one of these on a separate line. So if we have something like user activation, user deactivation, So that's how it should look. That's how each pick list value will be on a separate line like that. And you guys can give me the nod when you have all of yours entered. I'll give everybody another minute or two. And now when you're creating a pick list, you get a couple of options. You can sort the values alphabetically, or you can display them in the order entered. So in some use cases, you'd want to sort them alphabetically. In other cases, you may not. For this one, we're not going to sort the values alphabetically. I think that's what the guide said. Yeah. Okay. But you can use that. If you wanted to do it alphabetically, if you think that's going to be easier for you as an admin, do it. And we're going to use, and you're able to use the first value as the default value.
Should be the double underscores here on the API name of the
Oh, yeah, it should be. Yep.
Yeah, so.
Okay, I'll let them know. Thank you. Let me just see what page that's on, if you don't mind. Let me just see. I'll let them know.
Just adding the formula field.
Okay, and a formula field. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Okay, so I'm going to walk around, and the rest of the fields, the status pick list, the multi-select, the date field, and the formula field, I'm just going to walk around and kind of help you guys get there. How you doing? Good? Okay. Anybody have any questions? Yep.
I did click and it gets me here. Do I have to start back or am I good to continue here?
Yeah, you can continue there. Yep. And you just make sure you select your data type. Yep, I know. Let me actually announce that. He actually mentioned that to me before. So on the adding a formula field, I just don't have page numbers, unfortunately, but it says add a formula field to the object. It says closed underscore date C. there actually should be 2 little, underscores underneath that. If you're using the formula editor, then I'll actually create it up there so you guys can see it correctly. But yeah, I'm going to let them know that then we need to correct that for the next one. Thanks everybody for letting me know. Great eye. Oh, let me actually do the formula with you guys. Okay. Yep. Yep. No. You want to make sure you have the field names correct though, but you can pull them down where it says insert merge field. Yep. So we want to change that from organization. Wait, where are you? You need to create a formula field. It looks like you may be in a text field. Oh, you created a number. You need to create a formula.
This is once I got into the formula, right? So,
yeah, okay.
And then it said choose number as the formula return type.
Okay, yep. Okay, let me go create that day field now. We'll create the formula field with all of you together. Yeah, I think it's correct there. It's just not correct in the wording. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay, so the number of days open. So we want to have this so we can say, how long did it take us to close this issue, close this enhancement request, and how long is it open currently? But we want it to stop if the case closes. So that's why we're putting an if statement in here. So what we're going to say is if the close date is blank, so we'll do that. We'll open up our if is blank. And let me actually do this using the formula editor. So you can. So we're going to say, if the close date is blank, so we're going to insert field, and we're going to look at the admin request object, and we're going to lose close date, insert. So if that's blank, then we want to show today minus the create date. So meaning that it's not closed, we want to show how long it's been open and keep having the calculation going until it's closed. But if that's not true, we want to have the close date minus the date value of the created date.
How do we do that? How do we do the, oh, it's advanced tab?
So just so you guys know, I created my create date field as just a date field, not a date time, so I'm not using the date value function. But what the date value function is what it does is it takes the date from a date time field that you can use in a calculation with another date field. And you have, if you wanted to find out how long something was been open minus a date time, instead of using today there, you can use the now function. So now minus create date, if you created that as a date time, will give you the now, what it is, the time right now, minus when it's created and an actual time, so you can actually, tell down to, how long that's been open using a date time. Were all of you able to get that formula field?
I'm getting a syntax error.
Okay, let me come over. All right. Sorry.
I get this closed underscore date C does not exist.
Does not exist.
Did I spell it wrong or?
Okay, so why don't you highlight that close date field? Just like that, and click on insert field. Let's make sure. And then, doesn't look like you created that field.
There's my problem.
Yep.
All right, so let's
So you can leave that open, so you don't have to delete it. And then scroll up a little bit. And then right-click on Setup. And then open that in a new tab.
gotcha.
And then it'll refresh there, and you'll be able to pull it there.
Okay, so just add a close date.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So how's everybody feeling so far? Good? Okay. We only have 35 minutes left, unfortunately, so I don't think we're going to get through the whole thing because we did it this way instead of the other way. But hopefully this gives you a really good idea on how to create stuff. Oh, I only have it in my thing. Maybe it is 11:30. Let me check. Okay. Let me see. Let me see what my Dreamforce app says. This has it till 11. I think we only have the room till 11. Yeah, I think that might be because I think you can definitely, if you definitely try it out yourself, but also my name, if you actually look at the Dreamforce app on the session, my name is right there. You can contact me in the success community if you have any challenges. But I think that'll take us actually a while to go through. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that was not you. That was the carpet. So what I want to do with you guys, because I don't think we're going to get through the whole document, is I want to leave you with some really good skill sets that are actually covered in the document, but I want to go through them with you so you know how to do them. So one powerful thing that admins have is the ability to display things differently to different users. And you can do that using page layouts. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually take the existing page layout and we're going to clone it. So we have two different page layouts. We're going to quickly create another record type, and you're going to see how you could display things differently to different users. So if we click on Edit next to this page layout that we have, and I'm back on the object under the page layout section. And what you can do is You can move fields around. So if we wanted to put last name here, maybe email address here, user here, request category up here, you can move it in whatever way makes sense to you. And I'm going to put create and close date down there in the system information, as well as the number of days open. And if you want to create a section, you can do that by dragging here. And we can call this new section new user information. And you can actually make your sections either 1 column or 2 column. And you can actually, based on the tab key, decide if you want, when you click the tab, if you want the tabs to go left or right or up, down. We're going to choose left, right, and we're going to make this 2 column. So we're going to drag down the user. An email address. And you can put down there anything, or you can create your own section, however you want to create it, whatever makes sense to you. And the other thing you can do is if you want to make things line up a little bit nicer, you can add blank spaces. Like that, if you wanted to. Does that make sense? Okay. Oh, new section is right up here. You see this new section up here? You can drag it down. And same with the blank space. And also what you can do with page layouts is you can take buttons off. You can take custom buttons off or standard buttons. You can add actions, which is what I was talking to you about before, publisher actions. Have related lists. You can customize which related lists are displayed to this end user. So if you didn't want activity history or activities to display on this page layout, you can remove them. And you can also add report charts. This is brand new with Winter 15. Or I'm sorry, this is, yeah. And we're going to do this as a save as, so it saves as a new page layout. And I'm just calling this user request layout.
So if you follow the steps in the book, it's a little different than what you're guiding us through. And there are some issues that I've ran across.
Yeah, so I'm not totally following this book, to be honest with you. So let's see, what do they have here? Yep. Yeah, so we're going to create new record types in a second.
No, this is creating a new page layout. In the book, they have it by not doing the save as like you did.
Yep.
Going to that object and going down to that page layout.
Yep.
And clicking on new.
Yeah. So you can do it either way. I happen to find it easier to do it that way, but yeah.
Yes, but just for the people that's trying to follow the book,
Yep.
There's an error in the book.
Yeah. So you can do that multiple ways. I can go back and show that.
So it's a couple of errors actually. When you click on new and then they say leave that to none and then name the page layout, you don't have that option to you don't see the feed-based layout option there.
Yeah. So what I did is I went into an existing layout and did a save as, so I almost cloned it while I was doing it, because I decided I want to say this is a new layout, but you also have the option to click new here and create a new layout, and it gives you the layout you want to create from, and that's what the book says. You can do it either way. Whatever way works for you, there's no right and wrong. but there's 2 ways to do it.
And then also, if you do it this way, you gotta create a section, and then pull up that dimension to create that section.
Yep. Okay. So we're going to create 2 different record types here. And what record types can control is how your users see that object. You can actually display totally different fields on different record types, as well as pick list values. So we're going to go ahead and do that. In the org, you mean, or in the book? Oh, so I'm on the actual custom object. So because we're creating new record types, the only option here we're going to get is master. So the first record type we're going to create is called user request record type. And for record types, you can enable them for all the profiles or specific profiles right here. And like the other things that we discussed, if you decide you want to go back later and add this record type to different profiles, you can go ahead and do that from the actual profile. So what does this say? Okay, I don't know what it says in the guide, but I'm just gonna make this available to everybody. But you can follow the guide. I think I might have missed where it is. But now you can apply your page layout to the record type. So you can have, for every profile, you could potentially have different page layouts for a specific record type, but we have 2. So for this record type, we're gonna assign the new page layout that we created. So we're going to use the user request page layout. And we're going to apply it to all the profiles for this specific record type. And now what you'll notice after you have your record type created is any pick lists you have, and I didn't create them all here, you'll have the ability to select which values you want available for the user. So not only can you assign a specific page layout per profile to a record type, you can also determine for all the users who have access to the record type what pick list values they should see for each field. So for example, for feature request record type, we may not want all the request categories. So we probably don't want user deactivation or user activation or change user privileges, but we probably want all of this other stuff here. So you can apply this to any object. This is how all the objects work, but it's really powerful in guiding your end users. And the other thing that record types allow you to do is set a default value. If 80% of the time it's going to be one of the values, or it's the value you want them to select most of the time, you can default it. Does everybody kind of understand the concept of record types? Any questions so far? You're welcome. If you're leaving today or tomorrow, have a very safe flight home.
So a good example of different record types might be the end user's options versus someone who's supporting that end user.
Yes, so let me give you actually a real life example on how I use them. So we have different opportunity types based on different types of sales reps or sales that we're trying to make. And again, record types can apply to custom objects and standard objects. What we do is for, let's say, an inside sales record type, we only display certain types on the opportunity, as well as certain stages, as well as we have a couple of other custom pick lists, and we only display those values because those are only applicable to the inside sales group. So it kind of says, okay, this record type is for this group of people who do this. Let me only show the values that are for this. You don't have to manage multiple pick list fields that essentially do the same thing, but you want to show different values for different people. But you can also reuse those values. So let's say for this one, you have a request of other. You may want that on both of your record types, so you can share that value on your record types. The other thing with record types is they are reportable, and you can use them in formula fields and validation rules. So if you wanted to validate something specifically or do something, a formula specifically for this record type, you can reference the record type name or the record type ID. So they're very powerful.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So since we only have about 15 minutes left, I'll give you guys a choice on what do you want to do. Do you guys want me to do the workflow rule with you, or do you want to look at Salesforce 1? Salesforce 1? All right, let's do it. Okay. One of the things that you have as an admin is you have the ability to make things mobile with Salesforce 1. So what you can do is you can either log in to your dev org from your Salesforce 1 mobile app from your phone, or we can use the 1/1 app right here, and that's what I'm going to do here since I don't have anything to show my phone up here. So what you're going to do is, if you turn to the page that says Module 7, your app in action in Salesforce 1 Mobile, and if you look at your browser bar, where it says NA, mine is NA15. I'm going to remove that out. And we're going to go 1 slash 1 dot app. And this will allow you from your desktop to see what people are going to see on mobile. And for some reason, it's not letting me click in here. What is going on here? Let me try Chrome. Okay. Sorry, I didn't realize I was in Firefox and I was having an issue. So you should see something like this in Salesforce 1. So you should see your admin requests right here. And you'll see if you have new record types, this is what it's going to look like. So we have user request, feature request, like that. But Salesforce 1 works with pretty much everything out of the box, but this is a great way to test it out for your end users to make sure without having to log into your phone. But if you do have your phone available and you have the Salesforce 1 app on your phone, you can actually log into your dev org from your actual phone. You can see your chatter feeds. Oh, this is my Beauty Forest app. That if you read my blog, that's what it is. Yeah. I'm sorry? Oh, I haven't. These are publisher actions. I haven't created publisher actions yet. Yeah. So we can do that really quickly. We can create a publisher action together. You want to do that? Okay. So let's get out of our 1.1 here. The app is there, but the quick actions that I just clicked on, it's not there. Yep, so that's what it is. So let me go back to show you what I mean, what we're going to do. So your overall app will be here, like your admin request is here. But if you wanted something like this little plus gives you your publisher actions. These are all publisher actions. So this is my dev org, so I have a whole bunch of stuff here. And what a publisher action does is it allows you to create a very quick action, and you can have object-specific actions or global actions. So an object-specific action would be something like if you wanted to give your users the ability to create an admin request, or maybe not even that. Let's do a real-life example. Let's say you wanted your sales users to be able to create a contact really quickly on the go, and you wanted to give them an action, but you wanted to pre-populate some information, maybe from the account, or maybe from their user record, or maybe from somewhere, like something, whatever it is. You can do that through a publisher action, no code. And I can show you how to do that really quickly. Would that help? Yeah. Okay. And get out of our 1.1 app. We're going to go back to our setup menu. I'm going to go back to create. I'm going to go back to our custom object, admin request, and we're going to go to buttons, links, and actions, and we're going to click on new action. And I know some of you are new admins, but for me, this is a very exciting feature because in the past, prior to this, you could not pre-populate a value without a save, without using a trigger or a URL hack, which are not supported by Salesforce. So this is a really easy way to do that that's available on mobile as well as desktop. So you can choose different action types. You can use create a record, update a record, log a call, or custom visual force. For this one, we're going to use create a record. And oops, I'm in the wrong place. I'm sorry. We actually want to create a global action for this. So we're going to create a record. Target object is going to be admin request. Let me go back. Sorry about that. I clicked on the wrong thing before. So we're going to go to underneath build where it says global actions. You guys see that? No, we're not. So let's go back. So let's go to setup. Create global actions. And we're going to click on actions. And we're going to click on new action. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a record, but we're going to pre-populate some information. Target object is going to be admin request. That's the object that we want to direct this publisher action to. And we're going to pre-populate the record type on this. We're going to pre-populate this as user request. I'm sorry? Oh, that's a good question. That was a mistake that I still make today, obviously. Yeah. So global action is an org-wide action. So if you're not starting at an object, so an action that's against an object would be you want to do it to an object that's below that object. So the only object that's below the object that we created, that custom object, are events, tasks, and activities. That's all that's there because we haven't created any object that's a child of this object. Yeah, exactly. It's the object hierarchy. So global action kind of lets you do things globally without going to the parent. So, and there really isn't a parent for this. This is kind of its own standalone thing. So another, for like a object-specific action, would be like what I was talking about for contacts or cases. We use them for cases and opportunities and things like that. Yep. And it gives your end users a quick way to do things. So here, it's going to give you the ability to, what fields do you want to show that end user in the actual action. So we're going to leave all of the fields here. And then we're going to click Save. And then here's where we get to the awesome power of this. We're going to predefine field values. So we are going to pre-populate the request category with, let's say this is for user activation. And what this is going to do, when they click on that publisher action, which I'll show you in a second, it's automatically going to pre-populate that pick list with this value before a save, which is huge in my mind. So I'm going to take... And what you're going to want to do is you're going to add this to your global layout. And that's under global actions as well.
Publisher layouts, right?
So now that we added that, I'm back into the Salesforce One app. You'll see that I have this, and I didn't spell request right. Why isn't this working? Yeah, for some reason this isn't displaying, but in theory, all those fields that we added on the publisher should display there. Sure. Yeah. The page layout or the action layout that we were looking at? Page layout, okay. This is what you're talking about? So you should see a little plus sign on the bottom right.
From where?
When you're in the 1.1 app. Click on your name, and do you see your name on the left-hand side? Okay, I'll be over in a second. What was your question on page layouts? Okay. I'm sorry? Okay. No, yeah. Yeah, I'll be done in a minute, yeah. Okay. 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 Okay, I'm good. I'm sorry? No, I think I'm good, yeah. Okay. So click on that, and then click on your name. And I'm wondering if you didn't. Oh, you must have a, you must be in a different version. I still have the summer 14 on my org. You must have the winter version. Yeah, so that's why. So if you're not seeing, if you didn't see exactly what I saw, my org hasn't updated to winter yet because when I refreshed it. So if you just created your org, that is something I should have mentioned, that you're going to have winter, and Salesforce one's going to look a little bit different.
But it still doesn't show that.
Oh, did you add it to the, let's go back to your setup. And we're going to have to wrap up in a minute, folks. And I appreciate your patience with being all over the place today without having the guides. I'm really sorry. And I hope you guys found this very, very useful.
To create something that's effectively like a grid, a spreadsheet, there was no field type in that. Is there a way to do that?
Not without a Visualforce page at this point, but maybe with the new Lightning stuff that they created, the Lightning App Builder, there may be a way. But essentially, if you have a bunch of fields together, that essentially is your spreadsheet, because your fields are essentially your columns on your spreadsheet, if that makes sense. But to actually have a grid where you're entering stuff like a spreadsheet, unfortunately not at this point, no. Yeah.
And a guy in another session told me, yes, there is, and there's formulas and all this stuff. But it's the new.
Yeah. Yeah. The Lightning App Builder, I haven't actually played with it yet, to be honest, but I think it has some cool stuff like that. No, it's right there. So you need to drag it.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I didn't save it.
Yeah, so add it to the beginning over there. Yep. And then click save.
Try that. Yeah.
And then make sure you refresh. And thank you, everybody. I really, again, appreciate your patience. And my name is in the chatter session. If you guys have any questions, I'll make sure I leave the actual link to the guide in there, so I know you guys have it now. But feel free to ping me if you have any questions.